Hola, buenos días. Vamos a hablar de este examen de AP Spanish Literature. My name is John Moscatello. I'm the founder of Marco Learning and formerly a Spanish literature major at NYU. Went on to study graduate school in La Historia Medieval de España. And I spent a year living in Spain. I've published academic research in both Spanish and English. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the AP Spanish Literature exam and some of the key resources that you need to get ready. As you are coming in, let me know what exams you're taking and how we can help you here at Marco Learning. We do have some resources for AP Spanish language on our channel already, and I encourage you to check those out if you are also taking that exam. AP Spanish Lit is an exam that does not get a lot of attention, so I hope that this is something that's useful for those of you who are taking that exam. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to share my screen in just a moment and make sure that everyone can hear and see me just fine. And I'm going to go to the most important place that you can go for this subject, which is the College Board's website for AP Spanish Literature and Culture, especially the course and exam description. This is the guide that the exam is written on and that you would need in order to really understand and study on your own if you're not in a class or you're just trying to figure out the best way to study on your own. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got this all set up. And again, if you're enjoying this video, press that like button. The AP Spanish Literature and Culture exam is a much smaller exam than AP Spanish Lang, but it tests very specific and interesting subjects. So let me just put this here real quick. And again, we're going to save this recording on our channel, and I encourage you guys to check out all of the resources that I've linked in the description. Okay, so in the course and exam description, you're going to see a few key things about the format of the exam. I'm going to go to an overview of this that breaks this down, I think, in a nice way. So remember how the exam is going to be set up. There is no digital AP Spanish Literature exam this year. It's only going to be offered in schools in the conventional paper and pencil format. The format of the assessment is, and maybe it's actually easier to see in here. So I'll go to exam overview and we'll just look at how this breaks down. So on the multiple choice section, there's going to be 15 audio texts questions that involve interpretive listening. We'll look at some examples of this. Counts for 10% of the exam, and it lasts 20 minutes. On the print and text analysis part, you're going to have 50 questions, and that's 40%. You'll get 1 hour for that. Then there'll be a break. For anyone who's taking other subjects as digital exams, because again, there's nothing here for Spanish Lit that's digital, you will get a 20-minute break. It's shorter. I think it's 5 or 10 minutes here. And then you're going to spend an hour and 40 minutes writing. You're going to have to write a short answer text explanation, a short answer text and art comparison. You're going to have an essay that's an analysis of a single text, and then an essay that is a text comparison. Notice the weighting, 7.5% for each of these two 15-minute short answers, and then 17.5% for each of these 35-minute answers. So that's the breakdown of the test. Now, as we look at the curriculum, and I'm going to go real quick. You just Google AP Spanish Lit CED. Let's take a look at the breakdown of this, which is really unusual and interesting and kind of cool because it's the only place that you'll see really medieval Spanish literature. I saw it in college. One way that they frame the course is actually with themes. So, las sociedades en contacto, la construcción del género, el tiempo y el espacio, las relaciones interpersonales, la dualidad del ser, la creación literaria. In those 6 categories, we have a lot of the works. Borges y Yo is a great example where Jorge Luis Borges is talking to himself on a bench in a park, right? And the kinds of examples in which in Conde Lucanor, one of the great medieval texts, you have the actual creation of literature itself showing up. What's great is we're on page 23, you get a list of all of those key terms from basic to more advanced. So you should know, for example, género, narrativa, poesía, among género, narrativa, poesía, drama, ensayo, ambiente, argumento, ficción, figura, retórica, héroe, imagen, lector, personaje, protagonista, público, suspenso y tema. But then you get more complicated words like ambigüedad, analogía, antagonista, antihéroe, arquetipo, atmósfera, carpe diem, desenlace, fábula, in medias res, ironía, memento mori, símbolo, tono y trama. And then up here you get much more cromatismo, desdoblamiento, leitmotivo. So the same thing happens with poetry, and you can look at this as something that you can work your way through to understanding more clearly. Then let's look at the breakdown. So the way that the course at a glance works is you have a quick unit on la época medieval, which involves just Conde Lucanor and Romance de la Pérdida del Alma. Then in the siglo XVI, we have Lazarillo de Tormes, Visión de los Vencidos, Segunda Carta de Relación de Hernán Cortés, which is literature, but in a more kind of a more AP English language kind of way. And then this a sonnet from Garcilaso de la Vega. This should count for more class periods, the 16th century. Then the 17th century, this is romantic, realistic, and naturalistic literature, which involves José María Heredia, Gustavo Adolfo Becker, and Emilia Pardo Bazán. And then we get to the generation of 98 in Spain, involving Miguel de Unamuno, who's kind of the poster boy of that era. Then you'll see a lot of focus on the teatro y poesía of the 20th century, including Federico García Lorca, Pablo Neruda, Julio de Burgos, and a few female authors that they've highlighted here. We get El Boom Latinoamericano, which gets a lot of attention. Jorge Luis Borges, Juan Rulfo, Carlos Fuentes, Julio Cortázar, Gabriel García Márquez, and Isabel Allende. And then we have in Unit 8, contemporary writers. And that finishes the curriculum. So it's very important to understand how that breakdown works for what you're going to be up against on test day. And let me just see real quick. For those of you joining, thank you. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in that chat. I'm happy to answer them. You can also add the comments afterwards if you are taking the AP in Spanish Lit exam. So a couple things. Let's look at a few free response questions. And I'm actually going to come back up to the top here of the course and exam description, which again, I've linked to in the chat, rather in the description. And I want to come to sample exam questions. So we have a poem you're going to listen to, and let's just go through some of these instructions because these instructions are always the same. So you're not going to get this, but this is what you're going to know. You're going to have to listen to a selection in Spanish twice. After hearing the selection for the first time, you'll have 1 minute to read the questions. You'll hear the selection again. While listening to the selection, you may take notes, so you can be writing on paper. Your notes will not be scored. After listening to the selection a second time, you will respond to 4 questions. Based on the information provided in the selection, select the best answer to each question from among the 4 choices printed in your test booklet. You'll have 1 minute to answer the question. So you're going to get this twice approach, and you're going to get information that you can take notes on. So here's the script selection. Ahora escuche el poema titulado La guitarra de Federico García Lorca. La guitarra. Empieza el llanto de la guitarra. Se rompen las copas de la madrugada. Empieza el llanto de la guitarra. Es inútil callarla. Es imposible callarla. Llora monótona, como llora el agua, como llora el viento sobre la nevada. Es imposible callarla. Llora por cosas lejanas. Arena el sol caliente que pida camelias blancas. Llora flechas en blanco, la tarde sin mañana, y el primer pájaro muerto sobre la rama. Oh, guitarra, corazón malherido por 5 espadas. You'll get that probably a little bit slower than that, and then you'll get it again. You'll take your notes. And then the narrator will say, Ahora tienes un minuto para leer las preguntas en tu libreta, in your little book, in your booklet. 1 minute pause. Ahora escucha el poema otra vez. Poem repeats. Ahora contesta las preguntas 1 a 4. ¿Qué transmite el sonido de la guitarra? ¿Es la llegada del amanecer, el desconsuelo de la voz poética, el amor por la naturaleza, la imposibilidad de la creación? And what's interesting about this is the vocabulary we saw in that list earlier was so like challenging and overwhelming on the far right side. This is not. La llegada del amanecer, el desconsuelo de la voz poética. These are much simpler phrases. Look at number 2. ¿Cómo son las imágenes que emplean la voz poética? Naturales, mágicas, espirituales, intrigantes. ¿Cómo es el tono del poema? Intelectual, moralista, melancólico, irónico. ¿Qué recurso estilístico aparece en el poema? El uso de múltiples conjunciones, la imitación de sonidos, la invocación a un objeto, el empleo de la ironía. This is really interesting because again, we're working with really simple and short questions. In that preview period, you definitely want to take advantage of this time, right? Antes de ahora escucha el poema otra vez, you have ahora tienes un minuto para leer las preguntas en tu libreta. So that 1 minute of working through these questions, you can write, if you're a bilingual speaker, just write that tone, images, try to process of eliminate your way through the first set and then listen again. So you're going to get that first set of listening. Then you're going to have a reading one. You just read this passage, which is from a play, and you get relatively simple and straightforward questions, at least simpler than, again, the scariest versions they can provide. Here's another example. ¿De qué trata el relato? ¿De dónde vienen los mensajeros? Those are questions that you can, some of which are just basic plot. Now in the free response, you are playing a different game. Get that break, and then you come in. You have to write a coherent, well-organized response in Spanish on the topic that appears below. Identifica el autor y la época de este fragmento. Luego, explica el desarrollo del tema de las sociedades en contacto dentro de la obra a la que pertenece. So you need to know the author. You need to know the period, the época, and then explain the development of the theme of societies in contact within the work to which this is pertained. So that's your first short answer. Then here's, this skips ahead to question 4. Here is a longer essay that's going to have, remember, it's 17.5% and 35 minutes. And here's the prompt. Analice el efecto de los recursos literarios que las poetas emplean en los dos poemas para desarrollar el tema de la imagen pública y la imagen privada. So public image versus private image is the theme you have to work with. En tu ensayo, compara la presentación de este tema en los dos poemas. Debes incluir ejemplos de los textos que apoyen tus ideas. So you should cite examples as you work through the comparison. 2 relatively short texts. And then we see some answer keys and samples and things for how this will all be graded. So there's a ton more information. I'm going to refer you all to the College Board's YouTube playlist, which I'll show you, as well as this course and exam description. You'll be able to find on their website as well information about the most recent exams, how those were scored, and hopefully that can give you some encouragement. I just want to remind you as well, here on the Marco Learning YouTube channel, we have almost 300 videos in AP Spanish Lang, Lit, and AP English Lang and Lit. So for every other AP you're taking, we hope that these resources are valuable. Be in touch with us on Instagram, TikTok. Here, we are here to answer the questions that you all have. So best of luck, buena suerte, and let us know if